Welcome back, everybody. Today, I'm really excited to talk about how I am growing my community inside the Aligned AF community. I'm doing it through three ways. One is I'm building out my audience growth. Two, I'm nurturing that audience. And three, I'm looking at creative ways to convert that audience into paid members in my community. Let's first tackle the audience growth piece. I think this is actually really crucial. I see a lot of business owners dabbling in multiple areas and not necessarily getting the traction that they need. I've been there. I've tried everything. I've been on TikTok. I've been on Pinterest. I've tried the things. For me, in this year, it's about narrowing my focus to a few things. Where I want to spend most of my time with audience growth in these three areas. One is long form content. Two is my community inside the Aligned AF community and on the school platform. And three, it's with my email list. I think about the first one, long form content. I have my podcast and I've been showcasing my podcast on YouTube, but for the past few years since I've had my podcast, all I've been doing is just taking the video of that recording and putting it up there. Now I'm more conscious about show notes, timestamps, and really making sure that there's keywords in the caption on YouTube. I'm finding that there's more viewership. I'm attracting in my ideal audience. The other thing I'm doing with YouTube is I'm creating videos like this, which I'm showcasing inside the Aligned AF community, but I'm also putting on YouTube so people that aren't familiar with me, that love to binge educational content on YouTube, especially in my niche, midlife women, business owners, and entrepreneurs, can actually spend some time on. And then find out ways to connect with me. The third area why YouTube is really important is that I've been running ads to my workshop that helps people move into my Aligned AF community through my sales funnel. But what I find is happening is people are finding me on meta ads on Facebook or Instagram, and then they're going to search for me on Google, and YouTube is popping up. And it's maybe a recent podcast video, or it's an informational video like I'm doing right now around some high value educational piece of content that they could use in their business. I think that we need to be thinking about this more as entrepreneurs, is that we could be spending our time on Instagram, TikTok, making a bunch of short form content, or getting into more long form content where we're showing up in SEO searches and showing up in Google searches. So that would be one of the things I would recommend doing to help you build your audience growth. The second area is your existing email list. Now, when I started my email list, I want to talk about like 5 years ago, I was doing quizzes, freebies, lead magnets to direct people to my quiz. And after a few welcome sequences or sales sequences promoting my main signature offer, I kind of forgot about these people. Over time, they've unsubscribed, or maybe I've cleansed my email list a little bit. This is a primed spot of evergreen business opportunities for you. I think that we undervalue our email list a lot of times, and there's a great opportunity to kind of go in there. I've been really looking at how I can foster better sequences, highlighting my promotions, but also making sure that I'm nourishing that community through really helpful value-added content. One of the ways that I'm doing it is simply even doing a session like today on YouTube. I'm taking the audio transcript of this, I'm dropping it into Claude or Perplexity and saying, hey, can you create a value-added, nourishing email that I can now share with my community? And I prompt the AI writing generator to do this. What I'm finding is that my email list now, it used to be around a 25 to 35% open rate, which for email standards is pretty good. Now it's moving up into the 75s. People are commenting, liking, responding back in email to me saying, hey, this really resonated with me, or I'm going to try this tool that you gave. And these are things that I'm just commonly doing inside the Aligned AF community every single day, but now I'm sharing this high value content on my email list. So my plan around my email list in this year is to really nurture this community, even going back to some of my high performing messages that I had before, but maybe scripting them a little bit differently, using AI tools to help generate it, making sure there's consistency in my brand messaging from email to email, and using AI tools can be really helpful for that. And then my third is the actual Aligned AF community. There are tons of women that are inside the Aligned AF community that are running businesses. We're doing bundles. We're doing summits this year together. We're doing podcast swaps. So there's lots of ways to be collaborating and sharing your audiences. I have my Aligned AF community on the school platform. This is the cool part. Everybody that is coming to school, whether they are a host of a community or an actual member in another community, is there for some type of educational content generating purpose. So it's a primed audience. They're already warm. It's simply a matter of going into other people's communities and giving, being generous with content, with helpful hints, commenting, sharing resources, tools, and then building up a following that's connected to your personal brand and your level of expertise and authority. In summary, really those three areas: long form content, so that you can be showing up more in searches and sort of cross-pollinating between different modalities, different social media platforms. your email list, it's already a prime, committed audience that is interested in your content and your offers. And then online communities like a school community that you can be a part of and that you can contribute your expertise and authority to. The second area of focus, and I'm just looking at my notes because I need to have some guidance here, is nurturing my audience. So I already mentioned a couple ways that I'm doing it through my email list, but it's really the importance of being consistent and adding that high value content. So while short form content can be great as far as getting new eyeballs, to keep them sticky, it really is the value of your content that you can be producing. Sometimes short form content, social media platforms don't necessarily showcase it, going in deeper into long form content. The other thing I'm thinking about doing as far as nurturing my audience is really looking at my email sequences, the repetitiveness of them. I think anybody that has a newsletter right now and you're posting your newsletter once a month, honestly, it isn't doing you any favors. I know it sometimes feels like it's a big haul to kind of create content, but only posting to your community once a month, you may actually see more unsubscribes than open rates going up. And so I want to encourage you to really invest in your email list. I'm looking at sequences for some of my freebies at being longer. Normally it's, people will advise you like, oh, put together a welcome sequence or a sales sequence of 5 to 7 messages. What I'm looking at doing for some of my email sequences with my freebies is testing out a longer sequence, like 20 messages versus putting them into this big stadium of all these other people that have been joining my list over the last few years and seeing what it actually creates from there. The other thing that's critical too about sort of nurturing my audience is looking at other ways that I can be sharing tips, sharing things of value. I mentioned earlier about doing podcast swaps, teaching in other people's communities or masterminds, so that my personal brand can get out to different audiences. I'm looking at other ways that I can be sharing valuable information that I know my community will be pleased to get. So using video can be a really great way to address it. One of the things that we're doing inside the Aligned AF community is that if members have questions or there's a goal that they want to try and overcome in their business, we've got a video feedback process where they can fill out a Google form. They can record a quick little video on Loom showing me something behind the scenes in their business, possibly adding in some links to maybe a Google Doc or a page on their website that they want me to review, and then me shooting back a video of some helpful suggestions. I've already been seeing lots of positive feedback from members about this, and even members that haven't used it yet feeling that this is a really great value add. So this is just some ways that I'm continuing to nurture that community. And then my last way that I'm looking at sort of growing my community and thinking about launching differently is actually like the whole conversion launch process. In the past, I have learned how to do, live launches, do them over 3-4 days, having a, targeted audience that you're working with. Although those have worked for me and I've seen huge spikes in revenue coming in for some of my masterminds, my retreats, my group offers, they have left me feeling physically draining. And I just find as a midlife businesswoman, entrepreneur, my target audience, I don't want to do anything in my business anymore that is draining me. I don't want to feel like, this was something that I was excited about and now I'm regretting because I'm so tired after delivering it. And although I still like doing live launches, what I've now decided to do is do a workshop launch every 2 weeks in my business where I'm talking about my no-call sales method. So if you are somebody that doesn't want to be doing discovery calls anymore or sales calls, convincing people to buy your group offers or your course or get into your mastermind, then you want to check out my no-call sales method. I've been running meta ads to some creative ad copy, testing out different ad angles, different graphics, and I'm seeing great results. My workshop used to have somewhere between like 30, 40 people coming in, and a lot of them were already existing community members inside the Aligned AF community. I'm seeing numbers in my workshop going upwards of 170, 190. Now we're at like 250, and I'm so excited to be able to get this message out to wider audiences. But I know the reality is not everyone is going to come to that workshop. They're going to want to catch the replay, watch it on their own time. And typically what ends up happening is that replay goes into the bottom of someone's junk file drawer or their email box. What I'm doing is I'm actually making these workshops more interactive. Like, let's actually take a problem that you're having with your signature offer or with your funnel or with your freebie and why it's not landing. And how can we actually mastermind it in this workshop, so that you can actually see the results. And number two, you actually feel confident that the person that you potentially might want to work with knows what they're talking about. And it's not a masterclass or a pitch fest for an hour that you are then, sold an offer to. But this is something that genuinely actually helps move the needle for you in your business. Let's recap really quickly. Here are the 3 ways that I am looking at growing my membership in my community on School this year. One is through audience growth. And I mentioned 3 ways that I'm doing that: through my email list, through long form content, and then also by contributing more on the School platform. The second way is nurturing my audience, really not taking my email list, this evergreen business, for granted. Third way is how I'm converting leads into paid clients inside the Aligned AF community through my workshop launch. If you have any questions about any of the tips that I just shared with you, please let me know. Reach out and let's connect.